The K-pop race has become more competitive than ever, and as one netizen on Reddit noticed, the number of groups debuting is increasing exponentially. In 2019 alone, 69 groups had debuted, and that means the chance to make profits was getting super slim. Because of this reason, many agencies, including big companies, are believed to have used desperate tricks to garner attention from netizens at the expense of their artists. Number 1. Nmixx. While it's undeniable that all members of Nmixx are the super competent idols of not only JYP Entertainment, but also the K-pop industry as a whole, they are constantly criticized for not being able to produce a decent song to listen to, causing their reputation to drop significantly. JYP Entertainment, with a history of never failing with any girl groups, was extremely bitter about this result. That's why, instead of gaining back people's love through carefully invested music products, they were said to have opted for the media play shortcut in hope that more people would notice their girls, probably to prepare for the negative reactions toward OO because the song's listenability was apparently low. JYP first stole a bunch of iconic scenes in famous MVs and put them in Nmixx's teaser to ensure they make enough headlines. Just within 1 week, multiple proof of plagiarism was found, and according to netizens, Nmixx has not only triggered 1, but up to 3 fandoms because the copy details were so evident. However, as all attention is good attention for a rookie, JYP never released to keep the debate heated. To a certain extent, this hate actually served them well because they had managed to grab lots of attention and directed it to the qualifying series of Nmixx, quickly gaining back the love since the girls were very talented. Then the MV was dropped, and because many had already fallen for Nmixx, they turned the blind eyes on the questionable melody and helped OO debut at number 50 of Melon. However, as this result was still disappointing for a group coming from a big company like JYP Entertainment, the company again tried to make another desperate attempt to gain attention for Nmixx's upcoming promotion, plagiarizing NewJeans' fashion by letting the girls wear the same colorful sporty clothes as NewJeans, doing similar poses and even pushing 2 members out of frame so that the lineup could have 5 members just like NewJeans. This copycat move was quickly picked up by the eagle-eyed netizens and on Pan. Many said they only found Nmixx pitiful because their body proportions were too severe to pull off NewJeans' fashion. Especially for Haewon, her figure was constantly made fun of, and while netizens knew body shaming was a toxic culture, they couldn't help doing it differently because they believed Nmixx was the first to start the beef. Had they chosen to stick with their regular style or at least copied in a selective way so that they could both stay true to their colors while being in vogue, netizens wouldn't have said anything about it. However, there were still defending opinions saying that it was totally ridiculous to criticize the girls, let alone body shame, then victim blame them. First, as a girl group who hasn't even been in the industry for 1 year, it's obvious that they had no decision over what to wear and what style to pursue. That's why a sudden switch to a more hip-hop image was totally out of their control, and they should never be hated for that. In fact, not even the cohorties of JYP should be hated for that because NewJeans didn't own this style, and teenagers, especially those in the West, have been dressing like this for centuries. Another thing fans found ridiculous about this criticism is that the figure of Nmixx's members have never been bad, and had netizens spent just several minutes to watch any stages of the girls, they would have seen Nmixx could slay even the most eccentric outfits for the top-notch ratio. What people should have criticized in that photo was the odd camera angle that made the girls look shorter and bulkier. Number 2. Sserafim. Even until now, Sserafim is still believed to be the group only managing to achieve a great reputation due to the cheap media play of hype, and many believe that had it not been for the explosive scandal of Kim Garam, the flop of Sserafim was really inevitable. On big forums, there are countless threads calling Sserafim's debut disappointing, underwhelming, and way too below the luxury model concept that they showed in the teasers. Netizens even bashed their songs for the girls' allegedly bad English pronunciation, saying that they were forgettable. According to some, the group's styling was boring and even their visual was bland, so combining all factors together, Sserafim was said to seemingly hold a one-way ticket to the certain flop. Basically, since everything about the group was apparently underwhelming while the Gen 4 K-pop race only got fiercer and fiercer, HYBE had seemingly predicted such negative reactions from netizens, so they desperately reached for dirty tricks. Pre-debut, they used Kim Gadam's scandal for clout, continuously giving vague statements making her look like a real bully while it's recently proven that she wasn't 100% a villain, as in the accusation. Topics related to Kim Gadam have been trending for months, and since all exposure was good exposure, they just did the bare minimum to put off the hate. Then, when people cared about Sserafim enough to get interested in their music, Hybe straight up threw Kim Gadam out of the window. To hype up the debut song, Hybe and Sserafim were believed to have cheated on music shows. Their win over Lim Young-ong was highly suspected, and according to online detectives, the fact that their ranking for both the title track and album was way behind the Trot Prince, it made no sense that they have the broadcast score over 5,000 while Lim Young-ong was 0. Because of that, when New Jeans debuted, some so-called fear-nots even said they would leave Sserafim's fandom to stan New Jeans, since there was nothing fun about the group for them to love anymore. Number 3. Golden Child. Debuting under a rather small company, Woollim Entertainment, Golden Child has struggled a lot to raise their popularity. Unfortunately, the group's hard work didn't pay off well, so after about 2 years trying in vain, their company started to use dirty tricks in the hope of helping their artists become more famous. In 2018, Golden Child was accused of blatantly copying the album packaging of GOT7, including the luggage-inspired case, travel stickers, ticket photo cards, and even the CD itself. When the accusation blew up bigger, Woollim didn't bother to make any statements and just went on promoting the design as if it was their original idea. While some said it was probably another coincidence in K-pop, as big brainers could clash sometimes, Agassiz didn't think so. According to them, since the packaging of GOT7 was made based on the flight theme, things like the flight ticket, photo cards, and a CD looking like a compass made sense. However, since the album Goldness of Golden Child was more about the regular love concept, it was totally senseless for them to have an album packaging related to the airport, travel luggage, compass, or anything related to the sky. However, as GOT7's fandom didn't want to push things too far, the plagiarism was quickly a thing of the past. Seeing things didn't go their way, Woollim opted for the last resort to garner attention, and objectively speaking, they were really brave because this approach could have destroyed Golden Child's career in a blink of an eye. Can you guess what they did? Well, they exposed the members' romantic relationships and even let them go on dates without covering their identity. In 2019, Jibom was said to have gone on a date with his girlfriend in North Seoul, and despite being an idol with a decent recognition, he didn't bother to cover himself. A fan who was there said both Jibom and his partner not only walked casually with no masks on, but also kissed in the street. Because of the strict privacy laws in South Korea, the person didn't post their faces but still gave a picture of Jibom holding the same backpack to prove her words. The company then tried to use this method again in 2021, letting Joo Chan self-expose his relationship with his drama partner, Jeon Ye-ji. This time, the method was a little different, and instead of blatantly dating, Joo Chan played a little mind game with people to make things more fun. The live sitcom he played was about the secret love story between an idol and an editor, and to watch them, fans must pay about 70,000 won for each episode. There was a kiss scene in this series, and while Joo Chan claimed that he neither actually kissed his partner nor had any feelings for her, fans believe the opposite. 2 weeks after the series ended, they noticed Joo Chan was secretly hanging out with Yi-ji, as fans noticed Yi-ji followed an Instagram account named Wang Chen-jun, whose ID was Soguk-ji, a nickname Joo Chan often used to play games, and also followed the Instagram account of Joo Chan's dog. While Ye-ji quickly deactivated her account, the traces of their relationships were clear. Joo Chan later also sent an implicit message to deny the accusation, but considering how obvious that Lovestagram, the attempt of Ye-ji to publish their relationship, and the way Joo Chan candidly used his game ID for his private Instagram, fans believed he was just trying to play a mind game for clout. In 2022, Woollim used another trick to gain attention for Golden Child, and probably due to being so desperate, they even hired outlets to exaggerate their health problem, acting as if one member was about to kick the bucket at an extremely young age. Specifically, on May 18, Tag was reported to have a severe liver failure, and if he couldn't have an urgent liver transplant, he would die. When the public went crazy over this news and expressed the extreme grief, Golden Child made a news statement saying that Tag only experienced a minor problem with his liver and just went to the hospital to have a health checkup. This plot twist made many fans extremely angry because they felt cheated. Giving it a thought, the whole thing was actually super fishy, because had the group themselves not talked to outlets about Tag's liver problem, how could these outlets ever know about it? Simply put, many believed Golden Child and their company have just been desperately trying for clout ever since 2019. But as everything was also in netizens' head, you should take these accusations into great consideration before judging the group. So, do you think these groups were actually pulling cheap attention bait for money, or everything was made up by Delulus? Comment down below to share your thoughts with us. Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe to BeBoss TV for more interesting K-pop content. Thank you for watching!